And we usually do an invocation, and it's usually Dwight, and he is not here. Tim, would you want to do an invocation for us?
I'll be glad to.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be glad to. I don't know if y'all hear me pray loud. Join me in prayer real quick, if you would. Father in heaven, we're always grateful for your time to fellowship, and we thank you for the health that you provided for us. We thank you for this food, let it nourish our bodies. Thank you for the community in which we live and the things that we can discuss that are exciting and things we just can look forward to in the future. And a lot of the folks in here, Lord, have a part in that, and we just always seek your wisdom and guidance as we move forward to help those that are around us. Thank you for all these things. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. All right. Now, one of the things we do is we go through the tables here and see if we've got anybody new here or anybody that has any announcements. So I'll come out here. Anybody new? First time they've been here? New members? See Johnny Cartwright back there. Welcome, Johnny. I just want to say your name. So, anybody here? Corey, nothing? All right. Man, you guys are quiet since we've been gone. How about this side? Anybody here? New member? Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about your new position.
Yes. My new position.
Yes.
I'll stand up. I'm Lucy Reimer. For those of you that don't know me, I recognize a lot of faces here. And as of about an hour ago, I am the new interim director of the Museum Center at High. We are so excited to welcome everyone back to the museum. We will be open starting next week, March 1st. Actually, March 2nd will be our first day open to the public. We'll be open Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 10 to 4 during the week, 11 to 3 on the weekend. We have Rotary coming back to us, and we hope to have all of our renovations completed by then. I feel confident that we will. We are still, I will say, looking for sponsors for our renovations and to help complete a few extra things like LED lighting, replacing some glass panels, painting windows, all kinds of things that we could use your help and your support for. I will say thank you to Ms. Sherry Brown for committing herself to the Education Center. So we appreciate all the help and support that she's given and stepping up to support us there. But we do need your support as well. So come see us, give us your memberships, help us with your with your support for events, parties. We're here for you if you need us, and we're serving you.
Thank you. That's exciting. Glad to see us all get back online again and start having one of these great events. Okay, anybody else here? Dr. Cole's table back there. Anybody back there? Anybody? Okay. Over here? Nothing? Not quite done today, so I'm going to turn it over to Sherry.
Thank you so much. And how about that rain stopping in the nick of time? I was stressed this morning. I thought this is going to be really bad, but then it worked out perfect. So that was really great. I want to say thank you to Ryan May, who's on Give a Moment, for hosting us here. The space is beautiful. They did a great job setting things up for us. Also, if you ever need to know, upstairs there's the loft. I think Weaver Room loft maybe, but it holds about 25 to 30 people. So if you ever need a smaller space. And also Connie at Isabel's Floor Gallery on Inman also has a space that will hold up for 50 people, and along with the museum's newly redesigned space. So lots of great meeting spaces downtown. And thank goodness we are heading on the path where we can meet again and gather safely. So, I have a question. Who thought downtown looked the best it's ever looked for Christmas? I think it just turned out beautifully. So I want to say a big thank you to Mayor Brooks for being the vision for that and just really getting behind that and making that project move along and happen. Thank you to our sponsors, which was Alan Jones, Logan Thompson, and Robert Thompson for sponsoring those lights on Ocoee, those rooftop lights around the courthouse. And thank you to the businesses who did a beautiful job decorating their windows. It was wonderful. City of Cleveland for their staff who decorated those trees at First Street Square, the tree at the Courthouse Annex, hanging snowflakes. Like 3 weeks of things that they do to get ready for Christmas. So I think downtown really was shining this year. So thank you to all of those folks. And I also want to say congratulations to Brittany Katz. She's once again getting the national spotlight. She got a national grant from the National Mainstreet Heartbeat of America grant back in November. And now they've asked her to lead an exercise class for the national conference, which will be commercial in April. So she's working with Lee University, who's helping with doing the videography, and she'll be leading that. So Spotlight on Cleveland during the National Mainstreet Conference in Brittany's store. So it's really awesome. So congratulations. Also about events, we'll be back on schedule in April with Cruise In. I'm hoping the dine around, so I'm still tentative on that. We're looking at April 29th if everything's looking safe and the restaurants are good with that. We're hoping to be able to do that one as well. So starting back into a good 2021, I believe. Any questions? Anything else before I turn it over? Jim, is it just hand it over to Jim? This is an easy one. He really needs no introduction. We're really happy to have Mayor Brooks here today and to talk about so many great things that he and the city council and Joe Bivas are leading downtown. We're so fortunate to have this team of leaders who really see the importance of downtown and how great it is to get us to keep the revitalization going. So we appreciate them so much, and I'll turn it over to Mayor Brooks.
Thank you. It takes a village, especially to keep me both organized and on time, and the presentations and things like we're doing today. So I'm very, very grateful that staff is here, our city manager Joe Fivas, our director of IT, Chris Miller, and I'm especially thankful for my colleagues from the city council and our very newest, and today will be her first full meeting, the newest member of the city council, Councilwoman Marsha McKenzie's with us. Can we please welcome Marsha? And my colleague, he and I were elected together, Ken Webb, Councilman Webb. It's been a great learning curve, hasn't it? So many exciting things happening downtown. It's great to see so many friends. Judge, welcome. Hopefully all my parking tickets are paid. I'm officially nervous. I just leaned over to Joe and said, this is the largest crowd for this kind of presentation so far. We've done Rotary and both ways and Kiwanis and a couple of Zoom meetings. And so some of this you've seen, a chamber meeting or two. Melissa's nodding at me. But we did ask Joe and Chris if they could sort of give us a little bit of a hybrid version. There has already been one question. I'm going to try to leave as much time as we can for Q&A because that's actually what I like to do the most. Sherry Brown, my Sherry godmother is what I call her, asked about the parking lot because thank God Sharon was right. Thank God you have a Church of God mayor. The rain did stop. I said, God, please, I cannot handle a rainy day and a Monday, like a Karen Carpenter song. But Sherry said, what about the parking lot? So 1.4 million T-Dot park and ride. It is still on schedule. It is still in the works. It is one of the slides that we did not include today, but I wanted to go ahead and answer that question. We are in incredibly, Tim can tell you, there's too many acronyms in our world. We are in the NEPA phase, which is environmental and planning. So believe it or not, even though we desperately need a parking lot, there's got to be a study about where that water, Mr. Lilios knows about this, when we put down new pavement, the water has to go somewhere. And the government, federal government that's paying for that $1.4 million won't give us the money until we can verify that that water will not be injurious to any other park. So we're in the NEPA phase, and Sherry, thanks for that question, and hopefully there'll be more of those at the end. So I'm going to kind of start in the middle of the presentation because so much of this has already been reported. Thanks, Tim, for the banner and all the great coverage that we've gotten for all of this excitement for downtown. But none of this would be possible without the very difficult and unattractive work of balancing the budget. Now, that's really not a headline-getting action. But the council, Councilman Webb, our new council member McKenzie, all of the council members focusing for the last 2 years on refinancing the debt. There's nothing exciting about refinancing your debt. It's like refinancing your house. There's nothing exciting about that, except for what? Your house payment goes down. Or even better, you get to pay your house off sooner. So that's what the city council did, and I'm so thankful, because none of this that we're gonna talk about would be possible if we had not focused on the debt, which was about $100 million when Ken and I came into office. We've reduced that by $20 million just off the top. We refinanced it, and we're saving another $10 million just on payments and balloon notes that we're about to come due, and that's one of the great things about having Councilman Webb on the team. He's actually a CPA, and all of this fiscal capacity and the ability for us to pay this new plan off while not raising taxes, while also continuing to pay off the debt that we have, is so important. And I didn't want to begin with the pretty pictures until we sort of cover the basis of none of this would be possible if the council hadn't done the really, really hard work of refinancing the debt. So, reimagining downtown is what we're calling this, reimagining the heart of Cleveland. It began when Ken and I first started in late 2018. We had, thankfully, the city council and the former mayor had done a complete plan for the redevelopment of downtown Cleveland. We worked very closely with our friends at Whirlpool. We continue to work very closely with our friends at Whirlpool on removing the old factories from the downtown spaces. We worked closely with Mr. Lilios at the Agora, making that first major project in our tenure. We purchased the Cherokee Hotel at the Cleveland Summit. I actually signed on that paperwork just a few weeks ago to finalize that, and continue to apply not just once but twice for a Build USA grant. Sadly, we thought we had a great grant package. Everyone who writes grants thinks they have a great package. And they told us, great idea, we think this is going to be great. Unfortunately, we can't give it to you this year, so try again next year. We flew to Washington, we talked about how we could make improvements and changes, and unfortunately, they still gave it to Memphis. And I said, okay, Joe, Sean McKay, our CFO, City Council, how can we go forward? How can we continue reimagining downtown and not waiting for one of these build grants? Let's just bond the money, pay as we go, pay down our debt, do everything without raising taxes, and let's just move forward. I'm incredibly grateful that the City Council has voted to do that. So our next phases of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, next 10 steps. We talked about the refinancing of the debt to make all this possible. So what do you do when you get your financial house in order? The top 10 things that are happening downtown right now that I think this group is most interested in. The redevelopment of what we all lovingly refer to as the Sanda Hosiery Mill. The Sanda building, the firm out of Asheville, North Carolina, which if you've ever been to Asheville and stayed downtown at the Bohemian, it's just a fantastic area, one that we love to visit. And the fact that they're coming here and they're going to invest what we believe is going to be up to $10 million on that corner there at the Five Points Pharmacy area. The streetscape right in front of it on Edwards. Much like many of the other streets downtown, better sidewalks, more pedestrian friendly. Incredibly important to this group, increasing the traffic and parking areas at the First Street Square. Redesigning that, reimagining that, closing some of the entrances, making other entrances in other parts so that you can get more spaces per square foot. We think that's going to be incredibly important. The Cherokee Hotel redevelopment. Again, I mentioned I signed off on that plan or that purchase a few weeks ago, and I was very thankful. Corey Dybel is here. I meant to say Corey's a great part of the team who got all these pictures together. His entire presentation is thanks to his hard work. Took us up to the rooftop of that incredible building. I've grown up in Cleveland. I used to give the historic downtown tours. How many people, except Melissa, remember the footprints painted on the sidewalks? And you would stand, and you could, whatever footprint you were standing on had a number, and the building in front of you, you read this little pamphlet. I used to do that. I was a history major at Lee, but I had never been on the roof of this building. The view, the vista, is incredible. And you really start to imagine in your mind how great this is going to be. I'm also thankful that the City Council has voted to begin and move forward with finding an architect and finding a group to help us talk about what that building truly can be and how we can get it ready for Class A office space or a boutique hotel or whatever it is, and hopefully a rooftop restaurant and bar, because the view from that area is just spectacular. I hope everybody gets a chance to see it at some point. The Johnson Park rehabilitation, you can't really talk about the Cherokee Hotel or the Cleveland Summit without thinking about the little park next door. Johnson Park has been a great spot in the heart of our city for a generation, and so the imagining of rehabilitating that and getting it back to a usable, family-friendly, pedestrian-friendly, more grass, less concrete, get it back to what it actually should be, which is a park-like setting. The Moore Building redevelopment, I had to apologize to Dustin Tomney about missing a City Fields event because we have some incredible development opportunities for the Moore Building in that corner. So again, Santa Hosiery is number one on the far corner of 5 Points. The Moore Building is on the other corner of 5 Points, so that entire area is about to become the boardwalk and park place of our downtown redevelopment. Going right through the middle of 5 Points is Inman Street, and so the importance of that process of calming down Inman Street and beautifying it, making it more pedestrian friendly, all the way from Broad up under the viaduct to East Street. Continuing our discussions about purchasing the local property, especially everything west. So that's going to be the 5 Points Pharmacy, all of the buildings and all of the parking lots that go downtown towards the Cleveland Summit. The Woolen Mill parking project, that's the one I talked about, the $1.4 million right out here in front. We're in the NEPA phase of that, so we are pressing forward on that. And then, of course, our friends and partners, congratulations to the new director of the 5 Points Museum. Continue to find ways for the city to partner with what truly has been not just the jewel of our downtown, but really how all of this redevelopment discussion began. Here we are, the Hosiery Mill, the Sanda Mill, Asheville's investing $10 million. Construction, we are told, is going to begin in just a few months, July 1. I'm very thankful that my colleagues on the City Council have already approved this development agreement, and I'm making sure that we're going forward correctly. And I'm very thankful that they've also included, like we did for Agora and other projects that are coming downtown, a payment in lieu of taxes. You all read about that. For the industrial park this past weekend, this is the same tool in the same toolbox that we can use for downtown development. I can tell you that the folks from Asheville, our own local developers, this is a very important aspect of this redevelopment program. And I'm very grateful that City Council has been 100%. What can we do as a city to make us more attractive, to make us more viable as a place for people to invest millions of dollars? And I'm very, very grateful. Those are some pictures right there of what the Santa Hosiery in the middle currently, and then above it is what their architectural changes in design are indicating. We've seen fantastic growth in the First Street Square. That's an understatement. Almost every night it's full. The parking areas are incredibly busy. In addition to adding the number of parking spots in this area, overall improvement, we hope to have it completed within the next year. Susan is here and Sherry is here. We've been in touch with our friends at Waste Connections because guess what? When it's very, very busy at the Agora and very busy at all the restaurants, the trash cans get filled up very quickly. And so we've been in touch with our friends at Waste Connections to find some very good and long-term solutions. Growth is good. And we've had a lot of growth in the First Street Square area, and so we're just having to keep up with that on the infrastructure side. The Cleveland Summit comes up a lot. I got a phone call last week. I actually returned a call this morning. And they're very concerned about the Cherokee Hotel. They're very concerned about the residents of the Cherokee Hotel. They were very concerned about Johnston Park because that was in the paper last week. And so I explained to them exactly what this slide says, that we were faced with a decision. We could either go forward and purchase it today, or we could have another 20 years, that's how those contracts work with the federal government, 20 years of Section 8 housing. We truly believe that this is a jewel in the rough. It's been neglected, it's been allowed to go down for the last couple of years, but when you go through it and you start looking at it with the vision of what this place can be, we believe we made the right decision. So the city moved forward with the purchase of the hotel, and we, understanding that the management company would build them what is now a $4 million new home just down the road on South Lee Highway. So to say that that was an upgrade, I don't live in a $4 million home. DJ, is yours $4 million? I can't remember. It was a tremendous, tremendous upgrade. Beautiful living conditions. Councilman Hughes, who's not here, has just taken a tour of it. I hope to take a tour of it as well. Individual cooking spaces, fantastic bathroom spaces. If you've been in the Cherokee or the Cleveland Summit in any recent history, you will know that it was a vast upgrade for every person, and I'm thankful that that was made possible. We are continuing to actively show the building. I'm thankful that the City Council at our last meeting voted to take the first step of getting an architect and having some internal demolition plans. If you think about the floors and taking them down, that's an amazing building. When the British burned the White House in 1812, I hate to bring that up, sorry. They burned it all the way to just the outside four walls is all that was left standing. Very same thing. These outside four walls, the way this was constructed in the 1930s, it's an absolutely incredibly strong building, and it can sustain having everything in the middle taken out, and you can build it to what you want. If you want 2 stories floors, you can have 2-story ceilings. It really is, I think, going to be an amazing investment in our downtown. Second step is going to be to do an RFP, which we're putting together now. Third steps is to start getting quotes for this internal demolition and getting it ready for the open market in the summer of '21. So again, some of these early pictures of the Cherokee, there's the one at the bottom, showing it when it was the grand opening. It was the jewel of the city back then, and we're planning to have it return to that. The next step would be the complete rehabilitation of the park next door. It's a long and wonderful history of being donated to the park by the Johnston family as a memorial. Our goal is to improve it, make it more of a passive park. Again, more grass, more family friendly, make it to where people want to come downtown, stop by Cleveland Coffee and Market and get a coffee, stop by Gardner's and get a sandwich, have a park that you can eat it in. First step is going to be to secure all of this from the family that controls the park. Second step is to hire architects and landscape architects. And then the third step, we have already been told, the council says we are ready. This is an early renovation of it. It doesn't have these fountains anymore. It doesn't have a lot of this what I call family-friendly features. But when's the last time you saw a couple dressed up arm in arm walking through Johnston Park? It's been a long time. We're hoping to get that back. That's the goal, and we have so far gotten lots of support to do that. So, incredibly quick downtown update. There are more things that we're doing. The infrastructure changes, and I just have to say, I'm incredibly grateful that the council has been so supportive of this plan. We are in the process of implementing and changing and having infrastructure improvements from Paul Hill Parkway all the way to Exit 20, and just about everything in between. Georgetown Road, Mainstreet Road, Paul Hill Parkway, of course, and 25th Street, and on and on and on, South Lake Highway, etc. And none of this would be possible. There's not a mayor that can do this. The council coming together and saying, now's the time. We didn't get these couple of grants that we wanted. Yes, we were disappointed. But now's the time, because we were able to refinance our debt, able to put our financial house in order. And for you all who are in the banking industry, there's never been a better time to borrow money or to bond money at this time. When we refinanced, I think the city got a 1.33 rate, which was just unheard of. So we think that now is the time to move forward with all of these. But one promise that I have to the council is that every time I give this update or give this presentation, is that I will ask for feedback. Because it's amazing how many of these, whether it's the parking and trash on First Street Square from Sherry and Susan, or whether it's a city fields improvement, a sidewalk that goes all the way to Blythe for those kids to be able to get to school safely, or the beautiful Free to Fly building. I'm looking around the room, the Terra Running building. There's so many things that individual people have brought to the table that we would never have known of, thought about. I remember the early conversations with Nick about what can we do as a city, which we ended up parlaying that same thing to our friends in Asheville, which is identical to what we're doing for the more building redevelopment. So it's starting to get the momentum and starting to build in the synergy of what is possible. But I promised the council I would ask for comments and concerns, feedback. If you don't feel comfortable yelling out or raising your hand like Susan did, that's wonderful. I love my church friends. You just throw their hand out. Don't hesitate to send me an email. It's kbrooks@clevelandtn.gov. Nick, I'm going to get Susan. She did have her hand up first, so go for it.
What can we do in the short term for the parking around First Street Square? The last month, I've had Saturdays where I have customers call me later saying I didn't come to the shop because there's no parking. And that includes on Second Street behind my shop. There is also, I do know of at least one merchant on the square that is thinking about leaving because of the parking and the other problems. So we need to do something in the short term to fix it.
I agree. So short term, this is going to sound terribly placating, but I'm just going to have to say you have to be patient. I gave up my parking spot. One of the very first things I did when I got elected mayor. I don't need my name on that sign. People throw stuff at it. So I gave up my parking spot, and city council meeting a week ago, I didn't have a place to park. There was no place to park, and I'm 3 blocks from your store. It's a good problem to have. We didn't used to have this problem. We do have parking garages on the drawing board. Unfortunately, you can ask Mr. Preston, per square foot, they're the most expensive kind of building that you can build. I don't understand that. Concrete is concrete, ramps are ramps. Why I have to pay so much more per square foot for a parking garage, I don't know. We actually have 2 on the drawing boards for downtown. I don't have it on this slide presentation, but that's another presentation that I did. There's not just one, but there's 2 to try to alleviate some of that parking. Susan, neither one of those are a quick fix. Those are both long-term fixes. But guess what? We've had a parking problem for a long time, and it's not an easy thing to fix. I think the most immediate thing in the next 11 months is going to be the fixing of the First Street Square, especially that parking lot, not close to your store, but between Catch and CBC. That's where the focus, and I think, looking at Corey, 16 new spots? I think 15 or 16. To me, that's almost immediate. One thing I've learned really well is everything in government takes a long time. I just learned this. My assistant, Sue Zayas, her first boss was Mayor Harry Deathrow. And Mayor Deathrow told Sue, because I was lamenting last week about something taking longer than I thought it should, which is a very common theme for me. And she said, you know what Mayor Deathrow used to tell me? Anything you want done, plan for it for 5 years. I don't think parking is going to take us 5 years. Maybe a building garage, but I think this First Street Square is 11 months. I think other parking around you, because I know we're going to fix Edward Street very quickly. So imagine parallel parking on that area. There's some other lots around there that we're...
Can we use the city annex and across the street from the city annex on Saturday?
Joe, can they use city annex parking on Saturdays?
It's public parking.
It is public, yeah. Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, I'm going to go to Nick and then Sherry.
Several parking.
Just to say, I appreciate the focus industry focus from broad to east. I know that we did a study a year ago. It became a huge project in AP40, but if we've always wanted that broad to east, and so I appreciate the more narrow focus back in the core area.
Well, and I gotta get Councilman Webb. Councilman Webb, so I've got 7 bosses, or 6 bosses, and I'm the 7th, and I don't get a vote. That's the crazy thing. But Councilman Webb and Councilman Avery Johnson were very concerned about that particular part, and I'm thankful, because it's, again, there are people in this room that have brought individual nuances to all these plans, and that was a very important part, and I'm very grateful that not just Councilman Webb and Johnson sort of, we gotta do this all the way east, but the rest of the council unanimously, it was a 6-0 vote. I'm now thankful that we have a 7th vote, so it's, I think it's gonna be good. It's a good question.
Would you repeat this question?
Sure, I'm sorry, I need to be more like Phil Donahue, don't I? Sorry. This question, it was actually a thank you for extending to east the Mainstreet corridor, but also keeping it focused to the downtown east to Broad. Because Nick's point was right, the early versions of this, it was fixing it all the way to APD 40, and it was large. And now we're focusing, I wish to goodness I could get the train company, Southern Railroad, to fix their train tracks. We put up flashing signs, glowing signs, shock signs. We could do anything, and I think trucks are still gonna chance it. I don't know what they're doing. It makes me crazy. Because we get those 24 hours a day. We get a little text. Marcia and Ken and I and Joe, we get our phone buzzes. Another truck is at the thing. Are you kidding me? Lucy, I'm going to go to Sherry, and then I'll come.
One thing I want to say, for sure, I hope that the city bus system is running regularly out just in the drive, so that people who used to live downtown will have a way to get to the grocery.
Sherry's comment was she hopes that the city bus system, which is actually SEFRA, it's actually a state program, that runs there's 3 buses, a medical bus, QX, Cleveland Urban Transit, and SEFRA, Southeast Tennessee Transit. And yes, they've actually increased their ridership and their coverage. And the great thing about that, I actually got a thank you from one of the residents. They now stop at their door. So it is literally door-to-door service on the Southeast Transportation Network. And, I wish we had more buses. That's a program that we are partnership with, but most of that funding is from the state and federal level. I wish to goodness we could do more. Cleveland's at this very unique precipice right now. We're not yet or anymore a small town, and we're not a big metro like Chattanooga, Nashville, or Knoxville. So we're sort of between growth plates of our busing system. Do we really need a full-fledged busing system? The numbers say no, but I think we need more than we've got. So we're at that very small area. Great feedback, though. Any other questions or comments? Cameron? Lucy?
Oh,
Madam
it's
Director.
okay. I was actually going to just mention to Susan that your stores are welcome to use our parking lot as overflow parking. We're not going to tow you. I know you have to come across Inman Street, and that can be a little scary, but our parking lot is rarely full, and especially with our limited hours open to the public at this time. So if we can be of help that way, we're happy to help, and hopefully your customers might come to the museum on the way through.
I try to sit in there all the time.
See, I love that. I love the fact that we're the city with spirit. So here's the new director of the museum offering free parking to our friends who are shopping in First Street Square. And Joe, maybe we can get the sign shop to put up some parking signs that indicate where they can park. Maybe that signage would be a little more prevalent downtown.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Kathy.
Is the
And
development at Sandville Mill, is that going to incorporate some parking for their residents, or are they going to be put out on the street?
I don't know that this picture shows it well enough, but the plan is for more parking down there. There's a side area that would be sort of on the Elks side, towards that end. There has to be, as Nick can tell you from the Agora building, there is a formula for every number of residents that you're gonna have, you have to have X number of parking spaces. So if you think about the lot that's on the pharmacy end, and then there's another side on the Elks end, between those two, and then some new streetscape on Edwards. It's a great question. All right, Sherry.
Yes, okay. So, is Edward
Edwards is not going to become a one-way street. It will remain a two-way street. Yeah, I have not ever seen a plan where we're reducing or changing. It's interesting you say that. I didn't know that the museum, that beautiful garden in the back, until Corey or Brian showed me just last week that that's First Street. And that there's a top part of First Street, and then there's a bottom part of First Street behind Fire Hall. And the city, I guess, worked it out with the museum to close that part of First Street for that beautiful park area. There is not that kind of plan for Edwards. It's going to remain a two-way street. We're going to improve it. We're going to put some of the utilities. My friends at Cleveland Utilities are helping us with that. Thank you, Tim. Put a shout out there. And so we're going to make it as good as we possibly can, both physically and visually. I think you'll be very pleased. Great questions. I don't know if this is like Rotor if I just pops up like the Rapture at 1 o'clock or not. I'm not sure. Sure, you'll have to give me some clues to. But okay, can I say Rapture? Yes, ma'am.
So in the absence of streetscaping and everything on Midland Street, is there any plans to just preliminarily clean it up and spruce up the bridge, i.e. painting and signage welcoming in downtown? Because it's not the most aesthetically pleasing space coming into downtown right now.
I am scanning back through, and Joe, I think that might be one of the pictures that we took out. There's this great picture, and Corey, we need to put that video on the city website. Corey did a great job of finding another city that did a great streetscaping, and I don't think you will see that there will be an absence of streetscaping on Inland. I think you'll actually see trees and cobblestone brick crosswalks, and we're going to do everything we can from east, coming in from 64, make the viaduct as attractive as possible. I want murals, I want beautification, I want as much as I possibly can, because it's shocking how much traffic comes into our town from the 64 bypass, myself included. All the rafting community, and we really hope that these new improvements to downtown are going to start bringing in tourism and business from the 64 corridor. We've got to make it as attractive as we possibly can. So I don't think you'll see an absence of streetscaping. I think it's less than what we can ask the government to pay for. So we're just going to do it ourselves. It's a DIY project. I'm all about that too. Yes, sir.
Mayor Lutz, with all this great work going on, what is the impact or increased burden on public safety in the area of Superman's? I mean, is it car traffic, visitor safety? Can you speak to that?
Sure. So the question or the comment was, with this kind of growth, public safety, I'm thankful that in addition to all of this infrastructure improvement and downtown improvement, that the city council continues to fund public safety. 2 new fire stations, a police purchase of all new cameras for every police officer. There was a vest contract that came across my desk. So the city council continues to be just as committed to public safety and education. We just, of course, opened Candy Creek Elementary. There are already, it's amazing what we see on our end as the city of what we're already told. Where's the new fire station going to be? Where's the new school going to be? It seems like we just opened 1 or 2, and here we are, we've already got that on the drawing board. So I'm happy to say that public safety is right there at the forefront. There's no, we're going to do one or the other. We're doing both. It's a great question. All right. If there's nothing else, all hearts and minds are, oh, I got one in the back.
You briefly mentioned the Moore building. Is that something that you can discuss? Are there plans in place for that?
Yes, there are plans in place for that, and I don't think we're able to discuss it in full yet. Yeah, so today, what time is it? In 2 hours, we're going to have another city council meeting where we're going to ask the council to go forward with those plans. So we're hoping to be able to announce it, and the council will hopefully this afternoon, Lord willing, approve us to go forward. It's incredibly exciting, and I am so thankful. It's a great time to be in Cleveland, Tennessee, folks. And all those that are early investors, like Sherry and all the way back to my Rotary friend Newt Metzger, downtown man of the town. And you think about all that they did and the shoulders that we're standing on are actually coming into place right now. So I'm very grateful. Jim. Jim's question is it just the Moore building or is it more than more? I think it might be more, so let's hope. Sharon, thank you. Thanks everybody from Main Street. God bless. Terry Brown.
Just before voting, Joe and staff have put together another city's survey not vote. But I think now that we're this is going out and demonstrating better, would it be possible to do that survey on the city website or in the office? Available, I bet we can probably get more response. This one is all about what we want downtown, and then how did it go?
So the question from Sherry was, there was a pre-COVID questionnaire about what you want to see downtown, and can that be put on the city website? The response was, we are hoping to get a little further out with some of these decisions by the council, and then post that once we have definitive direction by your elected officials on the city council. Thanks very much for letting me be here today. God bless.
Great information, lots of exciting things. You know, I know parking is always a downtown challenge, but it is really great that we have that issue, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have no people downtown. So it's great that we have these things to work through, and everybody's focused on it, and it will all work out. But it is definitely better to have a parking problem and have a no people downtown problem. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll be back on March 22nd, hopefully in person. I feel good about all that. Mayor Davis will be with us. We'll talk about what's going on in the whole county. So thank you so much. Have a great week.